I have some good news and some bad news. Now, recently I made a short about my spiny mice, explaining how one of them had somehow escaped and gotten bitten, and she dropped off her skin, which actually sounds a lot worse than it is. Spiny mice actually drop off their skin and tails on their own. Basically what we think happened is while I had the lid open for cleaning or handling them, she escaped when I wasn't looking. And since I am currently in my pet room, there's not very many places she could have gone. So we're assuming that our bunny must have gotten a hold of her and bit her somehow. And yeah, she was doing actually a lot better recently. She had healed over the wound and was actually growing new hair. The one thing I did notice was her eye looked weird. I'm not sure if something got in it or it was injured or if it was just a respiratory infection, but unfortunately she did pass away. I had actually ordered some antibiotics and I was planning on treating that, but by the time I noticed it was too late. And that poses a problem in a lot of ways. One of the main ones, though, is, well, what are we going to do? Because now we have a single spiny. This is Stick, who was Twig's sister, and they are very social species, and so you don't want them alone. But Egyptian spiny mice are an exotic species. You can't just find them everywhere. Plus, I do not like... hi, baby, yeah! I do not like replacing animals or getting new animals right after previous ones have died. I don't agree with that practice. I just don't. But in this case, it was a pretty hard decision on what to do. Since they are so uncommon, they are often mistreated and very few people know how to actually care for them. There's actually no care guides out there except for a single care guide that is in the German language, and therefore I could not read it. I had to translate it. So yeah, I'm actually experimenting with different setups, trying to find the one that works with them, and then I'm going to hopefully make a care guide on them because there's nothing out. I know you want to come out. You can't come out right now. No. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. But yeah. Anyways, rehoming isn't really an option because nobody else has them, nor is that something I'd like to do. Also, no one knows how to care for them. So we were left with the idea of try and find someone who's rehoming them or just let her stay here. And honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be replacing Twig if I got more. It would solely be so that she wasn't alone. And so I figured it would be better to put her needs before mine in the sense that it makes more sense for her not to be alone and lonely. So yeah. Now, if you don't know their story, they came from a really, really bad situation. It was a horrible, horrible breeder who was mass breeding them. I would consider it a hoarding situation because they were literally on the floor running around. They had escaped, and it was really awful. She breeds a lot of different animals. If you want to know who that is, it is the lady who runs Disco's Critters. I'm not going to name her, but yeah. Basically, her animals were infested with mites, kept in really small enclosures. A lot of them had open wounds. We only know this because we actually went into her home and down into the basement where she's keeping all of them. And yeah, she had spiny mice, degus, guinea pigs, bunnies, rats, mice, a few other things. She had skinny pigs. She had, I think she had some hairless guinea pigs too. But yeah, anyways, they were not being cared for well. I had to rehab them. I had to get rid of mites. By the way, if you're ever wondering, this one works really, really well for getting rid of mites with animals with sensitive respiratory systems. Yeah. I actually had quite a hard time trying to find something for them because you can't just look up mite treatment for spiny mice because that's not going to come up. But yeah, anyways, we re-messaged her recently to see if she still had any, because last time we checked, she was just looking to get rid of spinies. She didn't want them anymore. Why are you hanging off the ceiling? She didn't want them anymore, so she was giving them away for free. That's why they were a rescue situation, because we did not support the breeding of them in any way. But yeah. Turns out she has 5 other females that are up for adoption. This is a 40-gallon breeder, and I'd say anywhere from 10 gallons to 20 gallons per spiny mouse is recommended. Of course, I'm just making that up though, because there's nothing actually out about them. But yeah, for me, I'd say general rule is never keep them in something smaller than a 40-gallon, and you can have up to 4 in a 40-gallon, then add another 10 gallons per extra mouse. So yeah, anywhere from 1 to 4 could be kept in a 40-gallon. If you want to keep 5 spinies, you need a 50-gallon, or 55-gallon is most likely what you'd end up getting. If you want 6, you keep them in a 60-gallon, going up like that. I know you want to get out. They're really weird animals. They get really, really hyper. It's really interesting to watch. She's also really, really nice and tame now, but yeah. Anyways, since I currently have 1 in this 40-gallon, I have room for 3 more, and normally I try and provide them extra space, but in this case, I want to get as many animals out of that situation as possible, so I'm going to get 3. I'm also going to just, sort of half-ask if she has any other free animals, because if that is a possibility, then that is 100% something we would do. Yeah. I don't have the commitment, really, even, to keep more animals long-term. At least, not anymore. I mean, like, the spinies and stuff, yes. But any other rodents long-term, aside from my mice. So it would just be like a rescue, rehab, rehome situation. So we'd take them in, rehab them, and then find them good homes. I do run a hermit crab rescue, too, so I do have experience doing this, but yeah. If that happens, then I will be sure to update on that. Otherwise, we are going to be getting 3 spinies. We were supposed to get them tomorrow, actually, but that is no longer happening because of a massive, massive blizzard, so yeah. The lady is about 2.5 hours away, just there, and then back is another 2.5, so around 5 hours of driving, which is a lot, and you don't want to do that in a blizzard, so we had to reschedule, but I will be sure to update when I get them, and since they will come with mites and untame and starving and probably injured one way or another, I will have to keep them in a quarantine tank. I'm probably going to use like a 20-gallon long temporarily, which is, by the way, bigger than what they're being kept in now. I only know this because I've been to her house before to get these guys. But yeah, they'll be in that temporarily. Once their mite treatment is done and they're all rehabbed, then they will go into this tank with Stick here. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.